Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow. And I Want to Grow is all about that. You hear me all the time saying this. But today we're celebrating 90 years of the British Council, correct? 90 years. Now, the ripples that they've created is something unbelievable all around the globe. Today, we have a wonderful guest. We have Mariam. Mariam, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maryam Wahid. I am a photographer by background, but currently I am working for Tasweer Photo Festival, which is by Qatar Museums in Qatar.
But you're an award-winning photographer. Tell us a little bit about that and how you won that award.
So I, prior to moving to Qatar, my background is all relating to photography. So going back in 2018, I graduated with a first class in photography from the Birmingham City University, where I'm from. I'm from Birmingham. And following that, I really wanted to engage with the photo industry, not only commercially, but also artistically. So by default, working on projects at university, I was constantly thinking about themes that interested me. And being British Asian, by nature, I was interested in identity, the notion of home and belonging. So I was looking at photography. I was using photography to explore these themes. After graduating, I was looking at various opportunities and funding options that would help my photographic practice grow. So I came across, various opportunities, and then from my own interest in photography and the foundation knowledge that I had in my degree, I was constantly taking pictures, trying to understand, make sense, not only like visually, but theoretically, where my practice was going. So I applied, for example, to the Portrait of Britain in 2018 and 2021. On both occasions I won, which was great. And the Portrait of Britain is awarded by the British Journal of Photography. So this is where my award-winning side is at, and I've also received many other awards over the years for my work.
Fantastic.
Yep.
But I'm going to ask you one question to take you even further back, okay? And the question is, how did you get into photography? What was it that sparked that interest, that love, that desire?
This is a very good question, because I feel like photography has always been in my life. I think that's why I really am passionate as a photographer, but even just conveying the message of photography, and in my role as the head of program and outreach at Tasweer, I'm really motivated by using photography in other disciplines and how important it really is across all practices, and enhancing that skill in artists or photographers is, again, a really interesting thing for me. When I was growing up, I wasn't somebody that would go to photo galleries or art galleries, but when I did step in those spaces, I felt really connected to photography. And even just by looking at my family album, which is the first kind of physical photography mind explosion that I had, which was seeing pictures of my dad when he was like 21, which doesn't look nothing like him now, and the dad I know now.
Don't be talking about age now.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let's not go there. But like, even just being fascinated by the past and what messages and what stories, what themes are being shown, which are not evident right now. That power and the message that is conveyed in photography is extremely eye-opening to me. And that's where I think the hobby kind of started, and then the passion came, and then the obsession came, and then I told my mum and dad one day, I want to study photography at university.
What was their response?
Funnily, surprisingly, nobody had an issue, because I was the youngest child, so they don't really care at this point. But I would say from everyone, my mum was the most supportive. So I had a bit of a up and down journey. When I was studying my A-levels, I actually had very different, diverse A-levels. So I was studying economics, business, and religious studies with philosophy and photography. So it was like photography was always, there was a love there and there was a passion there for photography, so I kept it in my academic subjects, which were, I might go off and become a teacher, I might go off and become, go into business or something, I always had these other, I always had these solid options, and then photography was always the secondary option. But it was only until my summer, like the when you wait for your results to come back to you, and I was like, I love photography, and okay, it might not be like the most best degree in my circle, in my family. Nobody had done an arts degree, so it was quite a big shock to everybody when I said photography is the degree I want to do. But I knew in my heart that I was super passionate about it. Studying it was gonna help me grow and take me to a place where I can't believe that I'm here right now with my passion into photography, because it has really been an extraordinary journey for me so far. And actually seeing myself back in that time, that I can literally remember that moment when I was thinking like, oh, should I just withdraw like my applications right now to study religious. I think I had applied theology and religion at University of Birmingham, and I was waiting for that result, and I was like, shall I just withdraw it, because I'm dead serious. I want to do photography. And I was in like a whole, as in my mind was completely driven and motivated to go in that direction. And honestly, I feel like where I'm at right now has been because I've had that constant drive and passion to go and be the best in that field.
And I'm just and again, I'm feeling from you right now, and those subjects that you did at school or you were studying, they must have a bit of a reflection on the photography.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you talked about religion, you talked about politics. They in some way or another, they've got a real kind of,
absolutely.
They add substance,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, everything in my life I feel like has informed the next thing I do. So I mean, even being a photographer by background has really informed my position even as the head of program and outreach, because for me the focal point in my programs and designing them is to really target and enhance the local community here in Qatar and build foster the talent, really get them to engage in collaborations. All of this because I've been on the other side looking for opportunities. So in my head, I'm like, how can I make this opportunity the best it can be in my power and position for the photographers here? And what kind of events and programs can we put together to really create that engagement and that dialogue that is needed here for the photographers?
How did this, all of a sudden, you're an award-winning photographer in the UK, how did it become... how did that journey in Qatar start for you?
So for me, the journey started probably, I think, 3-4 years ago when I was closely following the photography scene here in Qatar. For me, visiting the GCC countries such as Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia and Qatar now, all have been really fascinating countries, and the photographers that I discover from this region are remarkable. So actually with Tasweer, I was closely following their social media account and closely following the Qatar Museum's programs in general. And I just found the mission to be very clear and to be very unique. The vision that Her Excellency 𝗚𝘂𝗀𝘁 has, it's completely unique. And for me, it really lines well with what I see in Tasweer as well, the potential that it has to actually grow photographers organically, because the talent is there, the infrastructures are there with the museums and with what we have at Tasweer, but it's really about enhancing and bringing to light all of these talents and encouraging them as well and motivating them,
giving them belief.
Yeah,
giving
absolutely.
them belief.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So this is where my interest particularly focused on Qatar actually, and I mean even till today, I'm attending events and internal programs, and I love what I see. The outcome is fantastic. It's really it's really motivating and it's really humbling, actually, because I come from a background where I felt like the support as a British Asian woman in the UK, being in the photo industry, was building on. Like there was more awareness on females in photography, and there was more gender balance in the photo industry in the UK, thanks to people that have come before me that have raised this dialogue and discussed it and made visibility on it. So my journey as a female photographer from the UK was that I also needed that enhancement, that encouragement, also development in my language as a photographer. So it's a really humbling experience to be able to share that across the border, basically.
And how has the British Council played a role in all the things that you've been doing?
Yeah, I think the British Council have been instrumental. For me, like when I left university, as I mentioned earlier, I was very fortunate that there was actually a program happening with British Council, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Arts Council. And it was called Transforming Narratives. So I simply just saw that Transforming Narratives had 3 phases. They want to build artistic connections and cultural exchanges between Britain, Bangladesh and Pakistan, which was very exciting for me. And I applied for a research and development opportunity with them because, as I mentioned earlier, I am British Pakistani. I had never been to Pakistan ever up until I got this grant to go, and my focal point was women in Pakistan, because my own practice at the time was focusing on female identities and the British Asian diaspora, particularly the women. So this was a really exciting opportunity for me. Not only one, I was connecting with my motherland in a way, you could say, and really getting to see like the graves of my grandparents and connecting on a more personal, deeper level. But also I was really trying to understand the complexities within British Asian female identities and how I could actually the research actually informed my practice that came after that and my projects that came after that. So although that was like the first phase I was part of, I wanted to keep that conversation going in relation to myself and my identity as a British Asian woman and my relationship with my mother as well, because a lot of my culture has been passed down through my mother. So the language, the food, the clothing, if I left it to my dad, I don't think I would have learned much because he moved to UK when he was 5 years old and has never been back to Pakistan.
Wow.
So actually, like, even the stories, the simplest stories that my mum told me, like about life growing up in Pakistan or about her family, were really pivotal to me because my own grandparents, like, they did not live in the UK. So how are you supposed to find that connection or that kind of family heritage, ancestry or history through, how are you supposed to find that in life? So for me, it was my photo album. Connecting with that, asking questions and asking who's that, what's this about, where is this place? And that obsession led me to exploring exactly those places in Pakistan. And that's where I developed the work 𝗚𝘂𝗀𝘀𝘁, which was my mother's name before she moved to UK. And it was a reflection and a kind of a journey with my mother that I had to explore my mother's life before she got married and before she came to UK, and how it all transformed her life in the UK, and actually the complexities that migration brings, that although you leave one country, your culture, your heritage, your ancestry, all of that is embedded in that motherland. So it was an amazing journey for me to actually explore that with my mother, and for me to also come back and understand where I stand as a British Asian, because for me as well, like I'm not political at all. For me, it's about really creating cultural awareness and understanding that we need, even as a community, but even as a larger community in the UK.
I find it fascinating, and I'm trying to. Your mum must be so proud of what you've achieved. Oh God, and you naming things and celebrating her life must be so rewarding for both of you.
Yeah, I mean, I showed that work at the Midlands Arts Centre in Birmingham, and like I said, the British Council were very happy to support me on that, and I had the facilitation even when I went there. I connected with British Council Pakistan. I met incredibly great people from British Council, actually, and I think it's across everywhere, because even in Qatar, I'm connecting with British Council staff, and they're so thorough at their jobs, and it's really what on artists need on the other side, and B, how you want to feel welcomed as a British citizen.
And I'm not okay. We're here to celebrate the British Council, but I get so taken back by what they've done and what they've achieved, because I look at your life right now, and I look at the way that they've helped you touch so many other people's lives.
Absolutely.
And your journey's not finishing here. How do you see this progressing with the British Council? What plans have you got next?
So going forward, we have a photo competition with Tasweer Photo Festival, ourselves and British Council. For this photo festival, we are trying to really get communities to engage and apply and really submit compelling photographs. And I believe we'll be judging that with the director of Tasweer, 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝘀𝘁, myself, and His Excellency 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝘀𝘁 Patel, and I believe also Wasim Kutub will be joining. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and I believe that this collaboration also happened last year with Tasweer, and it's actually where I got to meet some of the British Council staff in person at the UK Family Day, and I believe that this 90-year celebration that's also going to happen this year is really pivotal to bring together the stakeholders of British Council and to really celebrate the impact that it's had.
Khalifa's some special person, right? He really is a special guy.
He's remarkable. I think it's because I have seen Khalifa being so instrumental in the photo industry. It gives me that hope that there is something special happening in the photo scene here, and there's something really, really remarkable that we can build on. So I'm really lucky that he's my director, basically, because I feel like I can immediately have conversations with him and talk about ideas with him, and he will know exactly how to build on that.
He's so humble. I remember going to an exhibition where he had his photos in that exhibition.
Absolutely.
And he was the one that organised it, but he had such joy in that explained to you about what that image meant to you. Now, all I see right now is the British Council and the role that they've played with embracing people like yourselves and bringing those cultures together.
Absolutely. You're right. I can't say any more than that. There is a really important role that British Council plays in a lot of things in the background. Even just giving my Zebanissa project, for example, like just not even having like somebody to call up and say, like, I'm here, this is my itinerary, can you advise? The things that you do on ground as well are really important, because I would have been a headless chicken in Pakistan, and some of the visits I had independently.
What other experiences have you had with the British Council?
So I was invited to be part of a jury panel alongside Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales. This was a initiative that was by her during the COVID lockdown experiences. So it was a photo competition bringing together people from the community to submit photographs of their experiences in lockdown. And this was all kind of initiated through the National Portrait Gallery. So it was an exciting experience, and actually, the experience that I had working with her, alongside her, was also remarkable. And British Council was a really nice connector to that, actually, because we discussed about the experience of both going to Pakistan, funnily enough, when we met, which was quite exciting. And the connections were that we both knew the High Commissioners, of course she would know, but it was interesting to hear the perspective of how photography also brought all of that together. And actually going to Pakistan, that journey, it became quite instrumental to me that there's a lot of underwork being done by British Council and a lot of facilitation and support, which is why I say like it's really important that that their support is there which is why I mentioned earlier, sorry, about the support being there by the British Council facilitators that are on ground.
You've got a special story, and I think your life, although you've done a lot, is only just beginning.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's and I've got one more difficult question for you to answer in one word. What is that word that represents the British Council to you?
I think remarkable.
And that's good enough to end this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you as well.